400 bombs for Giancarlo Stanton. Given his 2-year drought, it's truly incredible that he's gotten here.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granato. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Another edition of Locked On Yankees. We appreciate you clicking every day. On today's show, we're going to talk about tonight's pitching matchup, Matt Manning versus Clarke Schmidt for Game 2 in New York. I'm going to talk about Clarke Schmidt a little bit deeper, too. I had some things I wanted to get off of my chest, so stick around for the rest of the show. We also got some news on Anthony Rizzo. He's shutting down for this season. Let's talk about that later on. Stacey, the big news, of course, last night's win, 5-1, pushes the winning streak to 4. But, of course, in the midst of it, a big bomb from Giancarlo Stanton kind of goes out and gets one. A pitch that he was swinging and missing out a lot earlier this season, so nice to see him get a hold of that one. 400 career bombs. Stacey, I want to talk about his legacy overall, where this puts him, but just your reactions to that big blast, let alone it being a big game homer, making it a 3-1 contest at the time.
Right, because that's the thing about Stanton. Even when he's not doing well and he's not hitting home runs as often as you would like for him to do it, it's usually a home run that either puts them in the lead or gets them into a game. Like he's pretty, and I can't stand using this word, but he is pretty clutch, and people tend to overlook that sometimes. And that was a big home run in a big spot for the Yankees. You could tell that Gerrit Cole was very excited about it because he realized, hey, this is going to give me the win if we can hold on. And Stanton just loves doing that. And he hit that far. It went 451. And like you said, that's a pitch he would have missed probably a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And it's just good to see him making contact like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a pitch he's missing. Like I've seen it 100 times, at this point of the season. So it's really nice to see that. So that's 100 home runs since August 30th, 2018, when, of course, he reached that 300 mark in his first season with the Yankees, which is, a lot of baseball played that year, 158 games, so as comparison to the last couple of years. Fourth fewest games played to reach 400. And we just saw this the other day with Judge, right? 250 to be the fastest to that. And that list to 250 behind Judge, way less impressive than the fastest to 4. Number 1, McGwire, Ruth, A-Rod.
Mm-hmm.
That is a magnificent list. Not to say that the 250 list wasn't good, but this is all time. That when I read that, Stacey, you put that in the notes. I didn't know the actual list. When you put that in there, I kind of double took. I couldn't believe that those were the names that were on there again, especially considering where he's at in his career.
Right. Took him 1,520 games to do it. McGwire was around 1,412. A-Rod was at 1,480, I believe it took him that many games to get to 400. And Stanton is the 10th player to hit his 400th home run with the Yankees, which is also crazy to think about. Yeah.
Sure. I wanted to ask, because I have my thoughts on this, but I purposely didn't pre-screen this with you before we started recording. I wanted to ask where you're at with Stanton, because last season, a wash, right? Let's be real. This season, total wash. It's the worst season of his career. Like it just is. Every number, every metric, everything about it, the injuries, everything. Worst season of his career. So for him to get something like this, where is your mind at with Giancarlo Stanton right now?
I feel bad for him, because he's not trying to be bad. It's just circumstances are making him bad. And I feel like there's still good baseball left in him. I don't feel like the rest of this contract is going to be a complete waste. I feel like there's a way he can pick things up. I'm not one of those Yankee fans who's angry with him. And, they kept saying on the broadcast what a nice moment it was that the fans were nice to him because he hit 400. And, it's kind of sad that they had to mention that because of how Yankee fans have treated him since he's been here. And he's had, like I said, he's had some big moments. He had a lot of home runs in the playoffs when he's healthy. And, I feel bad because, he came here thinking it's going to be me and Judge bopping home runs together. And for that first year, it looked like, okay, this is going to be a lot of fun watching these guys bash baseballs all the time. And then the health stuff started. And it's not working out the way anyone wanted it to. But again, it's not a personal thing against him. I feel bad that it's worked out like this. But I like him. I really do. And I he can hit a baseball a ton. And when he does, it's so much fun to watch. I just wish it was more.
Yeah, when he gets a hold of one, it's like nothing we've seen in our lifetime, right? Like it really, it's look at the names we just read, right? Like that's the pantheon right there. So, his power is obviously the draw, and it has been the draw ever since he got to the bigs. And before that,
right.
That's the whole thing. So yeah, I agree with your sentiment. It feels like there is still hopefully plenty of baseball left in him. It's just that the health, man, it's so, I don't even know if I want to say bizarre, but it's just like, you're getting to the point where you're going like, well, there it is again. And it's almost boy cried wolf here. It's like, well, I worked on my health here this off season. I worked on lower body and boom, hurt again. You're like, geez, man, like, oh, who has that much bad luck?
Yeah.
That's the problem here. So I feel like he can really solidify his legacy with health and at least decent play, right? Like if he gets into a couple of homers a year and hits 30 to 35 every season, something like that, I think that totally saves these weird couple of years moving forward. Let us know.
That's really what it is. That's what it is. It's the home runs. Yeah. Like people aren't going to care about his batting average. He could hit 210 with 40 home runs, and people will be like 40 home runs. They're not really going to care about the rest of it.
Yeah. So let us know how you're feeling about Stanton in the comment section here on the YouTube side. The rest of the offense, of course, DJ hit his 15th bomb early on in that contest. So that's, we've talked about DJ LeMahieu a couple of times.
It's his seventh in his last 13 games.
Yeah, it's crazy, the turnaround. Tip of the cap to Sean Casey, tip of the cap to DJ LeMahieu. They've really figured something out with him. Jasson Dominguez with that nice double to move Judge over to third. He gets on second, and then Gleyber with a 2-run double to kind of solidify that game in the bottom of the 8th there. Stacey, you mentioned Gerrit Cole liking what he saw out of Stanton. 6 innings, 8 hits, just the 1 run, 7 strikeouts. He gave up an RBI knock to Miguel Cabrera to tie the game in the 6th inning. Of course, then Stanton goes deep in the bottom of the frame. What did you see from Cole last night?
I saw a lot of pissiness from him, which I love when he gets mad at himself. You can tell that he was frustrated with the way the game was going because he got himself into a couple of not really like jams. Like, he didn't have the bases loaded with 1 out or something like that every inning. But, he gave up a couple of 2-out singles, I think first inning, second inning. And he had some, scary where you thought, oh boy, like, that 6, you thought, maybe something's going to happen here. And then he just buckled down, and those 2 strikeouts to end that inning, especially that last pitch, that 99 that just rode up, and he was so fired up. And I joked about it in our preview about he can have a woo game. And I feel like this was a woo game.
The woo game is back.
Yeah.
Help me understand this. Maybe we don't have a ton of time here left in the first segment, but he gives up a pair of hits to Javi Baez.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, both of them backed up on him. They're off-speed pitches. I believe one was a knuckle curve. I don't remember what the second hit was. But they backed up on him and clearly did not hit the spots that he wanted to hit. But riddle me this. Why is anyone throwing a pitch remotely close to the strike zone on Javi Baez right now?
Really? I know.
He's not even swinging at anything remotely close to strikes. It's crazy. I've never seen anybody regress the way Javi Baez has.
Because we saw it in the last series last week. He swung at something that was in the opposing batting box. He wasn't even close to it.
It's mind blowing. He's one of the best guys a couple of years ago. He was one of my favorite players a couple of years ago, and all of us. The defense is still there. We've seen the defense plenty, but man, the offense. I can't even begin to describe the difference in offense. It's truly bizarre. That strikeout in the sixth, the end of sixth inning there, that was on Javi Baez. So he rushed that fastball upstairs. But I mean, that's what you got to do. If you're pitching to Javi Baez, don't.
Right. Yeah, he'll swing at it. I mean, he won't be like Vlad Guerrero Sr. and hit a ball that bounces for a home run, but he'll swing at anything.
It's crazy. It's crazy. The breaking stuff, especially sliders on the outer half of the plate. No, not even outside of the outer half of the plate. That's what is just really gets me. Things that aren't even starting as strikes, he is chasing. It's mind-boggling. Just do that. Just do that. Until he stops swinging at that, you got to keep doing it.
Hopefully the Yankees are watching. Hopefully Clarke Schmidt is watching, and he'll do that
Clarke,
tonight.
Just throw your off-speed stuff away to Javi Baez. Hey, let us know how you're feeling about last night's win, 4 in a row. How you feeling as a Yankees fan right now? Drop your questions as well down below in the comment section here on YouTube. You can reply to that pinned comment for Fan Mail Friday. Of course, you can join Subtext to skip that line, as well as get a whole bunch of other really cool perks. All right, Anthony Rizzo news. Let's talk about it when we come back.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Sales. Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started.
Hey, back here on Locked On Yankees, second segment time. SiriusXM is the place to listen to all Yankees games this season. You guys already know that. We tell you that every day to the everydayers. You guys already know that. And to the everydayers, coming up on tomorrow's show, of course, we got your recap of game number 2 against Detroit. So make sure you stick around. Checking in with Jasson Dominguez, checking in with Austin Wells, how the guys doing. Of course, we're going to do that on tomorrow's show. So hit subscribe. Stacey, some tough but anticipated news. Anthony Rizzo's 2023 season is over. The Athletic reporting, as well as other outlets, many other outlets, this is what they had to say. Quote, Rizzo hoped to return this season despite the diagnosis. Of course, this is post-concussion symptoms. In mid-August, he said he was feeling better on a day-to-day basis and that his fogginess he was experiencing had lifted. But recently, this is the part for me, Stace, Rizzo met again with doctors who put him through tests and told him they saw progress but wouldn't clear him to return to play. Boone said that Rizzo would likely have another checkup in a couple weeks. He added that Rizzo didn't fight the Yankees' decision. Obviously, we have no direct knowledge of what those tests saw, what progress there is, or we're also not doctors, so what that actually means. But good that there is some sort of progress. But Stacey, your reaction to this bit of news?
Well, I've been saying it for weeks. I don't know if I've been saying it on the show, but I know I've been saying it on Twitter that I feel like they should have shut him down already because they're not playing for anything and you can't risk head injuries like that. I feel like he should have been shut down already.
Yeah. Well, I
understand.
Officially already had before. Right?
Yeah, I get that.
Timing-wise, Timing-wise, you kind of felt it. You felt it that way.
And I feel bad for him. It's just a horrible... We saw this with Clint Frazier. He crashed into a wall, and he had post-concussion symptoms for, 3 seasons. It's a scary thing, and I really hope that that's not the case for Rizzo. It's just we talked about it when he first got hurt. He was the Yankees' best player for the first almost 2 months, full 2 months of the season, just constantly hitting, the only consistent hitter at that point. And then the injury happens. And I really feel like the combo of him and Judge going down together really killed this team.
Oh, 100% it killed the team. It killed the
Hmm.
vibe too. Like
Yeah.
it's like a gut punch.
Hmm.
Stace, I wanted to kind of yin and yang this as I like to do on the show and talk about the optimistic side and the pessimistic side. And I think on the optimistic side, there's a couple of directions you can take this. One, this is the right thing to do.
Yes.
Is the health aspect. It's always the right thing to do. So good on the Yankees, good on Rizzo, good on the doctors, good on everybody to be doing the right thing for his overall health. Screw
Yep.
baseball
Yep.
for his overall health. That's what matters. Full stop. Part two of this optimistic side for me is what you mentioned earlier. He was one of the best first basemen in baseball. Like he just was a couple of months ago. So if you're thinking he's coming out of this 90% of what he was, he's still one of the top first basemen in baseball. And that's not to be overlooked. That's your left-handed bat that everyone's screaming and crying for. That's the middle of the order. That's the protection. There's so much to that, let alone the good defense that he brings. Like he is a top-tier first baseman. We've got a couple Gold Gloves. He's got a couple of All-Star selections. He got a World Series under his belt. Like this guy is legit. And I feel like pre this diagnosis, there were a lot of Yankees fans that, for whatever reason, just because of the play over a month and a half span, hated Anthony Rizzo. Look, I'm not going to look too deep into that. I'm not a therapist, but when you consider the injury and now having the hindsight of it, again, I think you can be a little optimistic about what a 2024 season could entail.
Yeah. Plus, he has all this time to rest and recover now. This is like a big stretch of time for him to just try and get better, hopefully get better, and hopefully he'll be ready for spring.
Yeah, that's the hope. The pessimistic side is what you also alluded to there, Stace, is you never know. You just never know. There a lot of everydayers definitely know I'm an Anaheim Ducks fan. I live here in Anaheim, if you didn't know that. Been a Ducks fan for my entire life. There was a goalie by the name of Jonas Hiller. Jonas Hiller was an all-star. He was Team USA. Like he was one of the top goalies in all of hockey. And then he got vertigo. And that pretty much derailed his entire career. I mean, this guy was like a cover of NHL 15 or whatever. Like he was the guy, and that's the scary part when it comes to head injuries. Is we think we know a good amount, and we do know a good amount. And we're learning more and more as a species about these head injuries, but there's still so much we have to learn, and that's what scares me. Is it's not an ankle, it's not a knee, it's nothing like that. There is always going to be an unknown factor when it comes to an injury like this.
Yeah. We had spoken about it when everything first came out about Rizzo and his issues, where you were saying like, it's not a broken ankle. Like it's not that kind of an injury that heals like a broken bone. The head is so tricky, really. And as someone with vertigo, I feel so bad for that goalie, because it is literally the worst when you get a vertigo spell and you can't do anything for like a week. It's just really awful. And you get the same sort of symptoms that Rizzo has, the fogginess, the not feeling steady. It's terrible. And it's unpredictable. So there's that part of me that's, okay, he's going to have all this time to heal. But then there's the other part where I'm frightened that he's going to have issues with this for a while.
Yeah, that's the other thing is, excuse me, things could always come back, right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing is it could disappear for a while and then come back. So that's just always the scary part. And I don't want to end this on a negative note, because you guys know, everydayers know, we like to try and spin the positive here on the show. So I'm going to choose to do that here and say, Rizzo physically is a hell of a ball player. And is one of my favorite players in baseball. I've always liked Anthony Rizzo, and all you can hope for is the best for him. And again, screw baseball. It's all
Yeah.
about Rizzo, right? Rizzo's got to come out of this. And I just hope that nothing more severe happens. That's my biggest hope. Let us know how you're feeling about this. This is, again, some news that you maybe anticipated. We kind of anticipated here over the last couple of weeks. I mean, it was, 2 days ago, Stacy and I were texting, and you were like, I was like, is there anything going on with Rizzo? Like, we're trying to figure out things for the show. And lo and behold, about 24 hours later, we get the answer. So all the best. Wishing all the best to Anthony Rizzo and his full recovery. All right, we're going to step aside one more time. When we come back, Matt Manning, Clarke Schmidt, Game 2. Let's preview it.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In case you don't know what that is, you get out-of-market games on YouTube and YouTube TV, which is a good deal. Now's the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Back here on Locked On Yankees, don't forget, Game 2 tonight, 7:05 from the Bronx. Of course, you can listen to that game on SiriusXM, as you guys always do. Download the SiriusXM app today. Hang out with John and Susan for a couple hours. Matt Manning takes the ball against Clarke Schmidt tonight. Stace. We'll see if Austin Wells gets the start with Schmidt this time. Of course, we saw Ben Rortvedt behind the plate. Haven't seen Higgy in a couple days. Throwing that out there. But don't forget Matt Manning last time against the Yankees a couple of days ago when they were in Detroit. 6 innings of 2-hit shutout baseball with a pair of walks and 4 strikeouts. Clarke Schmidt also faced the Tigers in that series. Not his best stuff. 4 2/3, 6 hits, gave up 3, gave up a homer, a couple of walks, did strike out 7. Stace, tonight against Matt Manning, what are you looking for out of this lineup?
I can speak. I'm anticipating a similar kind of game to Tuesday where they don't do much against the starter and then get to the bullpen. At least that's what I'm kind of hoping for, because the Yankees are known for doing that in 2023. So I'm thinking maybe that might be it. Or now that they've seen him and they saw him recently, maybe they might be able to do something against him the second time.
As recent as it was his last start. He didn't make one in between there. So same for Clarke Schmidt. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm very curious how Matt Manning comes out here tonight. The Yankees had a lot of weak contact in that game. The swing and miss stuff was there, but it wasn't like in your face. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on exit velos and stuff like that here tonight to see if the Yankees can try and find something different, to try and sit on a couple of pitches and try and read a couple of pitches too. We saw that nicely last night. The Yankees able to sit on a couple and adjust and really bring out the big guns there last night, especially against the bullpen, like you mentioned there, Stace. I wanted to talk about Clarke Schmidt, Stacey, and it's something I've been thinking about here recently when it comes to Clarke Schmidt. Like we've had an interesting road with him this season, right? Like it's been an interesting. Life is a winding road.
It's September 6th, and he's still starting for the Yankees,
and he hasn't not started all year.
And right now he's like the number 2. So
yeah.
As it lines up. So
yes, the way it lines up. I mean, Cole went last night, so yes.
Yeah.
So here's what I was thinking about Clarke Schmidt. And I kind of wanted to praise the Yankees here when it comes to how they've handled Clarke Schmidt this year. Part of it is out of necessity.
Sure.
But also part of it, I think, look, I don't have any direct knowledge, obviously, because I'm not there. I'm not on the field. But it feels like the Yankees have done a pretty darn good job of letting Clarke Schmidt be who Clarke Schmidt is and not trying to push him to try and be anything more. And when I say that, I mean not trying to develop another pitch mid-season, trying to change his mechanics to try and force him to be the number 2.
Right.
Clarke Schmidt was not going to have a 2022 Nestor Cortez season. The Yankees knew that. And I think taking that pressure off of his shoulders helped him, because look how well he settled in. Most starts at this point are giving the Yankees a chance to win.
Yeah, this was his first not great start in a while. Like, he's been doing pretty well.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that bad still.
Right.
He only gave up 3. So that's still a chance to win the game, and they ultimately did, right? So to have Clarke Schmidt be allowed to be who he is, he can be a number 4, number 5. You need a number 4, number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Every team in every sport in the history of athletics needs role players. And some guys are role players, and some guys are the stars. And that's how the dynamic works, right? No one was anticipating Clarke Schmidt to be a member of the rotation all season long. But you know what? He had to be.
Mm-hmm.
And here he is. He hasn't complained. He hasn't shown frustration. He has just gone out there and pitched. And I think we need to, like, give him his flowers, man. It's been a pretty, like, let's be real, for what it is, a pretty good year.
Yeah. And I have to say, I'm actually impressed that the Yankees haven't screwed with him, because they tend to do that with some people. And it's good that they didn't with him. Yeah. And not even just the pitchers. They like to screw with the hitters too. So it's good to. Yeah. Yeah. Peraza also. Don't do the leg kick. Okay.
The leg kick stuff.
Yeah.
Miguel Andujar.
Yep. I mean, we could do a whole show about that. But no, I can't, like I said, it's September 6th, and Clarke Schmidt is the number 2 at the moment.
Air quotes for audio listeners. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. I'm so sorry, audio listeners. I did air quotes for the 2 because it's just our whole feeling for the beginning of the season was, it's going to be between Domingo Germán, Clarke Schmidt. It's going to be this, that, the other thing. And look who's standing. Clarke Schmidt.
Yeah. Last man standing. It's Clarke Schmidt, and he's still there. And you know what? He'll be battling for a position again next year, but he has a bit of a leg up at this point when you look at the other options, which are at this point going to be Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, Michael King, Will Warren, Clayton Beeter. Like, those are the guys that he's going to be battling with. And you know what? When you look at all of them, it's like Schmidt and King.
Yeah.
Like, it is. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Obviously, we want to see him finish the season strong. Let's see if he can get some, keep those strikeout numbers up. It's a team that strikes out a lot. So let's see if he can prey on that. And again, Clarke, if you're watching, I know you're not, just don't throw a strike to Javi Baez. Just nowhere near
really.
Strikes.
Yes. Just throw it about 4 feet away. He'll still swing.
He'll still swing. Still get that K. Let us know how you're feeling about Clarke Schmidt's season down in the comment section here on YouTube. If you want to text us about that, text us during the game. You can do that by joining Subtext. Episode description has all the information you need. To the everydayers, don't forget, coming up tomorrow, we will recap Game 2 and see if Clarke Schmidt doesn't throw Javi Baez a strike. And that's going to do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gotsulias. We'll see you tomorrow.